God, my hair is out of control. God, I'm getting pissed. All right, boys. Buckle up, baby. You know what time it is. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about tipping culture, okay? And quick disclaimer. I've been a waiter and a bartender for a very long time. I actually still wait tables till this day on top of doing this. So I get it. But anyways, this video is inspired by one of you guys. Dude commented, he goes, "Hey Jack, I'd like to see you make a video about America's crazy tipping culture, even during these crazy economic times." Starts talking about how he went to get a coffee, but I didn't get all that. So let's have some fun with it, okay? And to be honest with you, I work for tips, and I don't like it. Whose fault is that? Mine. Anyways, let's have some fun here. Oh, she looks like she's crying. That's fun.
Don't have money to tip your server and you go out to eat and don't tip your server, I have zero respect for you.
Paint me out to be the villain here because I'm not. I'm just going to share my opinion. I've never been a server, but I never would because I know the nonsense that they have to deal with on a daily basis and I know I cannot manage it. I automatically respect someone who was or is a server. However, we need to stop blaming the customers and calling them cheap and stingy just because they don't tip, because tipping is not mandatory.
Do you know what the...
Yeah, that's what you think, sweet cheeks. Hold on, let this guy go, and then I'm gonna. I've got some information for you guys.
minimum wages in Los Angeles? $17 and you want me to tip on top of that? I go to John and Vinny's, my favorite Italian restaurant in Los Angeles. They add an 18% surcharge on top of the bill. Then it says tip, not included in the 18% we already tacked on.
See, that's what I was about to say. She said it's not mandatory, but there's a lot of places. I live in South Florida, so in Miami, forget it. Any restaurant you go to, you could have the worst service in the world. It don't matter. You tipping whether you like it or not, baby. It's classic. I love it.
Another?
You want me to tip another 20%?
That's like 50%?
Now, on top of the fact that you charge me $27 for a fucking piece of pizza? My tipping is very specific. If there's a level of service involved, like there's an actual human who says hello to you, delivers you a drink, like a server, they get 20%. If you make me a coffee at Starbucks, you get nothing.
Oh,
$0. You made me a coffee, bro. That, by the way, I paid $9 for.
Okay.
But you know what's even worse, though, is check this out. So for the longest time, tipping was basically for waiters, bartenders, same shit. So waiters, a cab, like a cab driver, and what else? Like maybe like a door person at a hotel, or maybe the airport, like baggage claim, I guess. But now it's just exploded. It's everywhere, baby. It's honestly crazy. We're gonna get the Starbucks right here, and
Are we tipping Starbucks now? Are we tipping people now? At the window?
I am on one today, so let's just keep the ball rolling with the rants.
Okay, girl.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We are not tipping at the Starbucks drive-thru. Fuck no. I am exceptionally passionate about this because I worked in the service industry, serving my ass off.
She is so happy about this. Have you noticed that? No, I love the enthusiasm.
For the first 10 years of my life. But Starbucks workers, listen, I love y'all. I do. But I'm not gonna fucking tip you when all you're doing is taking a cup and handing it to somebody outside the window. And I understand this is controversial. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
To be honest with you, I mean, I go out. I got a coffee this morning, but I go to a mom and pop place. Coffee's $4 for a latte, you know. But honestly, if I didn't go there 2-3 times a week, I wouldn't tip. But I go there all the time, so you kind of feel forced to tip. And I'm not going to front. When I go in, they know me. And since I tip, you know, talk is cheap, money talks, right? Bullshit walks. It's true. Before I get into this guy's comment, you know, I used to go to this pickup window, Cuban joint, and I'd get Cuban coffee. And there could be a line, 15 people deep. But since once in a while, I'd slip them a 5 or a 10, which nobody tips $5 or $10 at a pickup window, for, you know, especially if your bill's $5. I could just skip the line. So there is a power to a little bit, like cash is king, right? Of course, it makes sense. So like today when I got my coffee, there was a huge line, but I just gave my homie the look, and I was just like, give me the usual. You know what I mean? I just stood off to the side. Bang, he handed me my coffee, gave him a couple, gave him a little $7, told him keep the change. So in that sense, yes, but it's getting a little out of hand. Hold on, let's read this guy's comment here. He goes, doing a detailed budget that you stick to is very important. The couples I've worked with, it's common to see that they think they're spending $700 to $800 a month on food. But after adding up grocery, lunches, fast food, restaurants, delivery, and beverages, they're often spending way over $1,100. Let's not forget about tipping, unless he's factored that in. He goes, I've got a family of 3 right now on a $600 a month budget. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of that, but he's got an excellent point. Okay? Working in the, dude, it's gotten so far, it's at like gas stations now with the tipping. We'll get into that in a second. Unreal. But bartending so long and waiting tables so long, I can't tell you how many times people's cards decline and they have no money to pay for their bill. Like, I'm in the business a long time, so over the reality of it, it hasn't been that many, but it's been a lot more than you would think, especially bartending. Oh my God. I can't tell you how many people would just leave. They have a card on file, they just leave. That card declines nonstop. Or like an embarrassing amount of times for these people. So I can understand someone's like, I don't have money to tip you, even if I wanted to. So I think that's awesome. But this is crazy because now it's hit even just gas stations. You're going to put 20 on pump 7, and then there's a tip jar, and the guy's going. And I go, fine, put 19 on pump 7, keep the dollar. But hey, it's crazy, man.
Expect tips just because it says it now every time.
You want to expect the tips because you want it.
So if you do something right here and you don't say, I tipped you digitally, you don't know.
Really interesting. I thought like the other person was judging if I press like no tip or...
If they are judging you, they should not because they literally can't see.
A lot of people aren't used to tipping for quick services. You think that you guys deserve it?
For the most part, yeah. Paying for not just the stuff that you're getting, but also the experience.
How do you feel about those screens?
I don't necessarily like it myself. I feel like it puts pressure on the consumer for no reason. Like for instance, if I'll go to a little store around here, grab a drink or something, and then they flip the screens like asking for a tip. For what?
You really want to show like an act of kindness, something that like speaks beyond words. Cash tip is a little better way to say that.
They are happy to give, they are happy to take.
Here's what's crazy though. I'm used to having like somebody having a little tip jar, okay? Even at a gas station. I don't know why, but where I live, it's become common to have a tip jar. But there's this one gas station. It's off Forest Hill and 95. If you live in West Palm, you could check this shit out. I'm not kidding you. A gas station. You go, you pay for something. Let's say you pay with your card. Forget the tip jar, which is there. Now it's on the computer when you're cashing out at a gas station to leave a % for the tip. That's how far gone we have gotten. Like, is anybody, like, I think it's nuts. And I work for tips. And I think it's crazy. And it gets even anyways. But now, like, I'm used to paying. Like, I don't do any DoorDash or Uber Eats or none of that crap. I'll just go pick my food up. I don't even do pizza delivery. I understand some people do. But this is where it's at, where people go, why don't you just pay your employees more? It's like, even $20 an hour nowadays ain't enough. So that's why I think tipping culture's really exploded. But, like, listen to this, right? And whose fault is this? You guys be the judge of this one.
You gave an $8 tip.
What the hell are you looking for? I gave an $8.
Okay, I'm going to bring the food back. I'm going to bring the food back. Okay. Because I drove 40 minutes. And it was extremely far, and I got it to you early. So I don't think you realize where you work from.
That's the craziest part, is she was upset about an $8 tip because it took her 40 minutes to deliver the food. Right? Now, is it the dude's fault? for only giving her $8? Or is it her fault for working that job? And then here's the funniest part. How much did that guy pay on that meal? Like, let's be for real about that. I've done Uber Eats once or twice in my life, or some delivery service, and it's substantially more money, usually. So that's kind of like, and the funniest part is most of us are living in the same world as this person. Like, we struggling out here too. That's the funniest part. Let's all get mad at each other. But this guy's got a great point here. He goes, I was a bank teller for many years before all the hyperinflation. At the time, most people had less than a few $100s in their bank accounts. Many only had a few dollars and a lot of overdrafted accounts on a weekly basis. I can't imagine how bad it is now. Yeah. And now, this makes so much sense, though, to me at least, about the tipping, because even if you are getting, let's just say you're getting $25 an hour, that sounds pretty good. But it's at the point where if somebody were to offer you a tip, even though you're making $25 an hour, I guarantee you would take it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I know I would. Like, thank you very much. And that's just where we're at. And that's why I think it's going to keep continuing on. Like, it's going to get even more obscure. Like, you guys name a random job in the comments that would seem like you would never have to tip for. Let's see what happens in the future. I'm so curious to see what else people are going to ask for tips. I really am. I'm genuinely curious to see what else happens here. I've even tipped a tow truck driver before. I've tipped a AAA guy before. Like think about it. Have fun with it in the comments section.
I tip you just because you turned the iPad around and I pushed the button, bro. Like,
yep.
The comment that I absolutely hate the most is like when people say, like, if you can't tip, don't go out. Like,
Right.
it's not. I'm not gonna give out free money, and it's just companies trying to get away with not paying their employees what they deserve. And they have the assets to pay these people more, but they just don't want to.
Yep.
They give you this option to tip, given this like social pressure to tip. And I agree with you. Like, if it's a server and they're coming multiple times and they're giving me good service, bro, I'm gonna tip you. If you're a bad server, you don't get a tip, bro. Like,
Yeah. And to answer that guy's question, well, real quick, this chick, I just put a screenshot here, but she just realized on her bill that there was a 20% gratuity already added in. No ifs, ands, or buts. Pay up, baby. Where's the money? And that's where we're at. You go down to Miami, you'll get the worst service you've ever had in your life. You tipping 20%, whether you like it or not. And that's just kind of where it's going. But the guy had a point. It's like, can we get paid more? Yeah, I'm sure. But here's something that I was thinking about this whole tipping thing. You know who we tip the most? Anybody? Any of you guys? Take a guess. Yeah. Uncle Sam I Am. Green eggs and spam. Yeah. The tax man, baby. Uh-huh. Think about it. Every time you see a receipt, you tip in the government or whoever the hell they are. And I think it's just gotten to such an outrageous level where companies can't even really afford to pay the employees. I mean, I'm sure they can pay them more, but like, this is how far gone this has gotten. And you think the government is going to, it's already being forced on us, if you really think about it. Okay, every time I get paid, I have to tip out. And especially in the restaurant business, check this shit out. I didn't even dial in on this. So if you never worked in the restaurant biz, like right now I'm a waiter. You're not just tipping me. Oh, no. You tip me and then guess what? I tip out too. So now I go and I hand the boss, the guy who cleans the tables, I hand him money. I go over here to the food runner, the guy who's running food, I give him money. Go over to the bartender, I give him money. So I'm being forced on top of that. So whenever you see, like, I don't get pissed and moan. If somebody don't tip me, I don't care. Okay? I learned a long time ago. Take this home with you. This one's going to hit. My dad told me one time, this was so crazy. I was asking him something because something had happened, and it was this dude I used to work for my dad, black guy named Jerry, and he did something, and we were out in public, and I was like 14, and we were somewhere, and the guy didn't tip, and so my dad handled for him, and he just tipped. Jerry had left, and my dad tipped the waitress, and the waitress actually confronted him and everything, and I was like, "What was all that about?" And my dad goes, well, he goes, some people, he goes, imagine you've never gotten anything in your life. Your own mother never even gave you $20. He goes, how likely are you to give a stranger a tip? So in other words, my dad would sometimes randomly just hand me a $100 bill, just out of nowhere. So I'm used to giving. You get what you give. I'm used to that. But a lot of people can't. They don't have that luxury, or they never even grew up with it. And I'm not saying that's just with this colored person. I'm saying it's with anybody. But it's just something that always stuck with me in my life. When somebody doesn't, it's like they're not used to giving. Why would they give? Why would I give you $20? My own mother never even gave me $20. Like, who the fuck are you? And, I don't know what that has to do with anything. But don't ever take it personal if somebody doesn't fucking tip you. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. It's all gravy. But this one was crazy. We do a live stream every Sunday here, if you're new here. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. And this guy from England, in the UK, they don't tip. But he actually wishes they did. And I'll explain a little bit more. Job. Because a lot of people might not be aware of waiting tables and bartending. You could get in a good place doing that stuff and make $70,000 a year, 30 hours a week.
And for half the amount of hours.
Yeah, I mean,
too.
You're still working. It feels like a full day's work when you're done. It doesn't feel like you just work 6 hours. It feels like you work 10. But in reality, you just work 6. It's just nonstop, and it's mental and it's physical, so it's like the double whammy.
Can I cut in? Is that through tips?
Yes, that's all through tips. That's all
you
through
wouldn't
tips.
get that here.
You guys don't. You guys don't tip over there, right? But they pay better.
You just don't. You don't tip in the UK. It's just not a thing.
Which is fine. Which is fine because I actually don't like the whole tipping culture. I like you give and you shall receive. That makes sense to me. It was the life I chose. You know what I mean? I chose that.
I think it'd be better if the UK
opened up the tipping culture. Oh, he froze again. He's ruining the entire live stream. I'm getting pissed. Now, he did end up coming back on the show, but he kept chopping up, so I couldn't use the clip. But he said he wishes they would open up the tipping culture. And that's because it's not enough anymore. The base pay just ain't enough anymore. And I think that's the main culprit. I really do. I think that's the issue. It's simply the base pay. Think about it. $30 an hour. 40 hours a week. That's good money. That's good money. But it's sad to say that you're still looking at it when you add it all up and it's all said and done. You're like, that's it? So I think that's just where we're at. And it's also in doing this right here. This guy donated $20, $19.99, coming in hot from downtown, from Paul Hester. My man, thank you, Paul. And he said, Merry Christmas, Jack. And it's funny, because even me doing this, I'm still kind of working for tips. It's kind of funny. It's hilarious. And what are we supposed to do? Say no? Because I don't like working for tips. You think I like going to work and gambling? That's what you're doing. You're gambling. You're going, I hope I make money tonight. That's like parking cars. Anybody who's ever done valet parking, you're working for tips. You're going to work and you're going, I hope I make enough to live today. But then there's the flip side of that, which I tell people all the time. If you're down and out, go get a job where you could work for tips. Wait tables, bartend, bar back, park cars. because you'll have nights, and that's why you see people that are like 40 years old, 50 years old, still waiting tables and bartending, because you have the opportunity to go into work and maybe make $500. Or you could walk in and you make $50 and you're pissing and moaning about it. But in the long run, it usually evens out. But you're gambling. That's what it is. And, I mean, I guess you could say that with any job nowadays, how fickle shit is. But, hey, here's to everyone being fucked, right? Cheers. I love it. Anyway, shout out to all my Patreon members, all of my monthly tippers here. I appreciate that. I hope the service was wonderful. I hope you enjoyed your food. But you guys let me know what you think about the whole thing. Honestly, I don't like it. I think it's just kind of gotten a little absurd, to be honest with you. I think it's getting a little out of hand. But at the same time, I get it. I get it. It's getting very difficult out here. So, anyways, God, good talk. You guys leave your thoughts. I'm gonna go give a homeless guy $5 and just tip him. One time before I leave, this homeless guy was sleeping. I was trying to make this chick I was with laugh. This was years ago. And we're walking down the street, and I just threw $5 on this homeless guy, and I go, "Hey, quit sleeping on the job." You know, because they ask for money. Anyways, it's classic.